Initially, I will introduce you to the company in couple of minutes, and then I will start the technology presentation to you. So, Inpods is an American company founded by two ex Microsoft senior executives, Sanjay Jezurikar and Dr. Vivek Nirkhe. Dr. Nirkhe is IIT Bombay graduate and a PhD in computer science from Maryland University, USA. He has been a product specialist, worked in IBM and Microsoft, and has been a serial entrepreneur. Sanjay is also a very senior Microsoft executive, and also senior. He is also serial entrepreneur. Very successfully, he had founded a few other companies in IT field, and those were merged into uh, companies like Mindtree before we started the journey of Inpods. In India, my colleague Kalidas and I manage the business. I and We are the directors of Inpods India. We have our engineering center in Pune, and in other cities we have our marketing and sales and partners offices. The uniqueness about Imports is that we our focus has been on core academic and quality reform related processes, which has resulted into development of technologies for blended teaching learning, blended assignments, blended in the sense either online or offline assessment, but for the purpose of outcomes analysis, the data can come to Imports. We are very strong in our technology for implementing outcomes-based education for various accreditations and ranking. Generally, INPOTS is being used for implementing outcome-based education also, and for in generally to introduce the quality reforms or introducing the best practices to analyze the student performance, helping them uh, with overcoming their weak areas. Imports is a preferred technology by many progressive universities and institutions in India. Uh, we took a route of developing an independent solution for NAC accreditation sometime in early 2019, and it has been the last 2.5 years. We are into accreditation management space, and our technology has been very well received by the market, and many prestigious names in the higher education industry or domain using Imports accreditation management system now. Uh, this is a kind of suite of products or technologies that we have developed, released progressively, and this forms actually an ecosystem for introducing the quality reforms in higher education. And you can see that you have technology for online teaching learning assessments, you have outcomes based education, and many health sciences institutions such as medical colleges use our competency based medical education technology also. This is very similar to in concept, or conceptually it is similar to outcomes based education, but it is called as competency based education in the field of medical sciences education. So that's a minor difference, but Imports has been one of the preferred choice of technologies to implement it. And as I mentioned, now our technology for NAC accreditation has been used by many progressive institutions across India, which includes state level universities, large private universities, autonomous colleges, and also affiliated colleges in the field of medical, dental, Ayurveda, nursing, or pharmacy, or engineering management, academic program related institutions also use our technologies. This is the screenshot of our OBLMS. So this technology can independently evaluate later on as per your suitable time to evaluate how it can help you in achieving or to be compliant with this criteria one curricular aspects. So those who are representing here a private university or autonomous college, they will be interested to know more about how Imports can help you with addressing the needs expressed in criteria 1, that is curricular aspects. Also in criteria 2, there have been many references about analyzing the students' performance based on their course outcome attainment. And this attainment is a very deep word actually. It requires the institutions to continuously compute the attainment of each course outcome for each course in every batch, and that is the kind of tracking required. And this technology can help you establish the environment in which OB could be implemented. Likewise, the criteria 5 also actually requires you to analyze the performance of the students from the perspective of their weaknesses in terms of the areas of the curriculum or the syllabus they are weak into, such as topics or some kind of areas or units, and then plan the remedial actions accordingly. That is to drive the continuous improvement in the academic processes. So these technologies will help you in be compliant with those requirements. Those who represent private universities and autonomous institutions, they can also evaluate this technology called as INPOTS assessment quality management system. This helps you in um, achieving very high quality question banks for every course, and subjective or objective questions can be mapped with course outcomes or Bloom's taxonomy levels, topics or your units complexity levels. So there are 7 to 8 such parameters to which you can map every question and build a question bank such a way that it will help you generate question papers automatically, which will have desired coverage of various course outcomes or Bloom's taxonomy levels, difficulty levels, and various topics and areas which you want the question paper to have the question paper to address these requirements. You also may have certain requirements related not to repeat a question or not to repeat an area for which a question is already asked in the same question paper. You may want to generate multiple question papers as, and then one of the question papers you want to choose randomly for the upcoming exam. So all such facilities are here in this technology, and this is also one of the best practices that you can refer and implement in your institution. So the first best practice is outcomes-based education. Second could be assessment quality related reforms you can bring in, and for that, INPOTS has a very right solution. This is the screenshot of our newly released portal, on which we have designed this for those who are interested to evaluate INPOTS NAC accreditation management system on their own independently. So this allows you to register yourself and your institution. You will find the name of your institutions, provided you have done the Aisha registration, and I believe all the institutions have done that. So you will find the name of your institution, and you can generate a 14-day free trial instance automatically on this portal. So you can use it for 14 days. You will receive an email in which you will find all the instructions to be followed, user manual, login credentials of various types of users, authors and approvers at various levels, and you can easily explore it. But just in case you have any question, you can use this chatbot to reach out to our team, who can immediately unblock you with any question that you have to be asked. So this is also, you can see, note down please this URL accreditation.inpot.com, and you can register your institution there. We are also contributing a lot. This is free of charge, and we conduct webinars very regularly, which are devoted to spreading awareness about outcomes-based education. Although we are not educationists, but by virtue of our association with many progressive institutions in India, we have gathered a lot of insight and understanding about this field, which we actually actually love to share this knowledge with others. And this is a kind of forum or platform we use to achieve the sharing of knowledge that we have gathered in the area of outcomes-based education. So these are the credentials. We have actually engaged with more than 45,000 teachers in India and neighboring countries, and they regularly attend our various webinars. In the case of you want this to be, if you want to conduct, let's say, a faculty development program of 3 or 5 or 7 days, we would love to participate and contribute there. Um, we can have, let's say, 1 hour session every day for consecutive a few number of days, and we can cover topics such as um, program designing, course outcomes designing, assessments, outcomes based assessment designing, and measuring the outcomes and analyzing the outcomes. This could be the 5 to 6 major topics we can cover in these FDPs. So please feel free to drop me an email or also pass on this information to your colleagues and your group members in case somebody wants to reach out to us. They can contact me directly. So thanks a lot. If you have any questions about anything, please feel free to post those questions to into the question box here. I will take a pause time to time and take a look at these questions, answer those whenever time permits. Thanks a lot. In any case, we will have a question answer session at the end of this webinar. So I'm going to start now the presentation of INPOTS NAC accreditation management system. So this is typically the way we will configure the instance for your institution. The logo of your institution will appear on the landing page, and since this is a cloud-based technology, you can log in from anywhere. You can also use your mobile devices to continue working from anywhere. Uh, Generally, each one of you must be already aware of the NAC manual and its structure. But just to load this quickly in our active memory, I'm just going to flip through these slides very quickly so that you can look at the technology from the perspective of how exactly the work of data collection and how the quality of the data improves when you use imports. So there are 7 criteria. As we know, there are key indicators of quality, and those are described in these key indicators. And each key indicator is measured with the help of either subjective or objective metric measure of the quality. And wherever it is a qualitative metric, the institution is supposed to uh, respond with a descriptive answer to the questions asked here, and also some supporting documents are required. And in the case of quantitative metrics, there is a data template given by NAC which has to be followed mandatorily for each metric, and obviously there are supporting documents are also required as a part of the response. So that's how this is an example of a template, and there are multiple metrics which are required to be addressed here, depending upon the your classification of the educational institution. These manuals do change accordingly, and their ratio of the qualitative and quantitative metric also has some slight variation here. Obviously, when you start collecting the data for these metrics, the data has to come from all the departments. And in some of the cases, the number of departments could be 5, but there are quite a few universities which use INPOTS have more than 100 departments. There are very large universities. They prefer, obviously, a lot of automation in the way the data is collected, and they see the benefits of doing that. So, the number of departments would kind of will create the complexity, because when you collect the data has to come from all the departments, and it has to be collated at the IQAC level. If you have 2-tier structure, but in many cases the structure is 3-tier, there are faculties or schools in the institution, and then under them there are departments. So the data has to go from the departments to, first of all, their faculties, and from faculties the data has to come to IQAC office. So there are two steps of data collation in such institution. So INPOTS has ability to be configured according to your needs. You can also have an hybrid kind of configuration of the system. What I mean by that is that uh, there may be some schools or faculties which may have departments, but there could be some faculties which may not have any department. They themselves is a small kind of school having only one department. So this kind of hybrid model also can be configured very easily in INPOTS for the data collection. The other important thing is user role and the management. So there are two types of users who are involved into data collection. One is an author who is given the responsibility of collecting the data, and a reviewer who is going to review the data as and when the data is kind of submitted by the author. So they work together to improve the quality of the data, and step by step the data moves to the next level. But what you require to define is that who is going to play the role of author, who is going to play the role of approver, and how many metrics are associated with each one of them at the department level, at the faculty level, and at the IQAC level. So this is the user configuration that is required, which explains everyone what role and the responsibility that they have to deliver. So that brings in tremendous clarity about the this data collection at all levels, and that automatically motivates the users because they know exactly what they have to do. Everybody likes to work in a well-defined system because they know exactly what they have to do. Once they contribute, they know that their job is over and it is being kind of completed in the right manner. Everybody likes to work in this manner, no chaos and no confusion. So that is the kind of environment you can create when you implement INPOTS. So I'll take then once I show you how the INPOTS is configured, I'll take you to a department and show you how data gets collected. Then I'll show you how the SSR or AQR data can be collected, how the data is presented in the similar formats as that of the AQRs or SSRs that you would like the data to be seen and viewed as. So that gives you a lot of clarity about how exactly your future SSR is going to look like. I'll show you some of the screenshots of how INPOTS generate the SSR or AQR. And there is a lot of common faculty data which is required for many accreditations and rankings, such as ATAL ranking or your NRF. If you are interested in QS or Times Higher Education ranking, for that also data can be collected. UGC reporting, for example, or your annual performance index of the teachers. So this you would know, you will agree with me that you end up collecting the same data again and again multiple times, and it is when it has to be reported to these accreditations and rankings bodies, uh, the presentation of the same data is different. Sometimes it is subset, sometimes it is superset, sometimes the particular duration is only to be considered, and all such variations cause you to collect the data again and again. And we actually have developed a feature to eliminate this duplication of work, and that basically improves your productivity a lot. So primarily the system was designed for reducing the manual work of the IQAC teams, reducing the challenges in data collection, establishing clarity and the clarity of the communication and clarity of role and responsibility to be played by each individual, and also trace the data, make sure always be aware of what is the current progress of data collection. So these were our primary goals when we designed the system. But over a period of time, because of our interactions with our customers, we have learned a lot about what other problems also we should start solving. And because of that, this system has become now a very valuable technology platform for not only data collection and improving the quality, but also for many other aspects of your or the challenges that IQAC team faces. I'll show you some of those features while we go through this presentation. By the way, Inforce supports all the manuals released by NAC so far for SSR as well as AQR. So you can use the same technology, obviously, for both the type of manuals and latest ones always. So recently we have implemented the NEP 2020 related requirements also according to the new releases of these specifications. So what I'm going to do is show you a three-tier structure, because some of you may be representing affiliated college and some of you may be representing university. So I will show you the superset of that. Those who have a smaller structure, a two-tier structure in their institution, they can obviously understand how exactly it will work for their institution also. So what I'm going to do is show you the kind of three-tier structure in which the data gets collected. Um, so now let's take a step back and think about a department and a metric, and see whether how the data is collected by two, um, I will say, actors. One is author, another is reviewer, and they work together to collect the data and improve the quality of the data. So this will happen for every metric in each department. This is a life cycle through which the data collection process will go. On the dashboards, you will see the journey of this data. It is flagged as as per the status of the state of the data in which it is there at that point in time, and that is this is the kind of information that you will see on your dashboards all the time. At aggregated information will be presented to IQAC for the entire institution. The faculties will have the visibility of their departments, and department will have the visibility of their only one department. Uh, so here, imagine that this author has submitted it. The data will go to the reviewer. This is known to the system, so you don't have to really manually do anything here. System will take care of the communication between them. In the case of any data revision to be done, it could be rejected by the reviewer. It can go back to the author. Again, the communication between them is handled by the system. Then the resubmission may happen, and finally it may get accepted by the approver or the reviewer, right? And then at that time, system will assign uh, grade points and weighted grade points to 2.3.3 in department 1. So this is the benchmarking that the system does. We don't say that, basically this is obviously to help you with identifying the weaker areas or hotspots in the uh, data collection process. For every metric independently, you will be able to do this. So here the idea is benchmarking, and this is your private benchmarking process. It need not be confused with the NACS, the system generated scoring process. We don't have any intentions of saying that this estimate will match with the actual grades given by NAC to you, because that's not the reason for which we have implemented it. Our focus is on giving you your own private benchmarking process. So we have given default values, their ranges as per the type of question and the formula given by NAC there. Uh, but you can, at the IQC level, you will have the privilege to change that, modify that according to your needs. And then once you modify that, this scale is applicable globally, so that you will be able to then compare apples versus apples. uh, and you can do it any number of times as per your requirement, but that is at the global level. So this slide will show you how data gets collected. So these are the three tiers, IQAC schools or faculties or institutions. I will conveniently call this level as schools, and then there are departments under every school here. So at each level, you will see that there is a kind of users and their roles are defined here because they are associated with their respective departments here. They will associate with their respective schools here, and there is a common kind of team for IQAC office. But their roles are same typically, but their data that they receive will change according to the level at which they work here. So department's data will be sent to its respective school, and then all the schools data will be sent to IQAC and it will get collated again at IQAC level. This process is automated to a large extent. The data collation is done, is collated automatically to a large extent. It reduces your manual efforts tremendously, even for the data which doesn't get automatically collated or aggregated. There are various file formats which you cannot simply uh, system won't understand how to actually collate it. Do you require some creative input to be given? And what how exactly your strengths have to be presented. Accordingly, you will be able to collate the data related to your supporting documents and then create, as per the SOPs, you will create a kind of response. So naturally, that is the manual process that has to be anyway undertaken by the respective authors and the approvers in these areas. But significant part of the other data uh, collation is done automatically. So this is how the we have already seen how these two actors or users will work together to collect and improve the data quality. And once the approver at the department levels approve, the data will go to the next level of authors here, school level authors. These authors obviously will receive the data from all the departments, and they will have to formulate a response which will be presented to the approver here. Now, this approver and the authors may have to reject the data at sometimes. So the data can go back to the respective department. They have a choice of rejecting the data for all the departments for any metric, or only for a selective department they can reject the data, and rest of the data will remain here. But the beauty of the system is that it helps you reduce the clutter and confusion, uh, eliminate the confusion altogether. In fact, so the date, if the let's say this department's data is rejected, now the supporting documents and all other data, the data sheet and the metric data, which was sent by them earlier, has to be removed from this level, right? And then when they send it back, it will get replaced. So you don't have to manually worry about replacing those supporting documents. Many times the names of the files are same. You don't know which one was sent when, and unless and until you really critically look at each and every file, you wouldn't know what changes were done, and all such issues are there in that process. So you can rest assured that the new set of files of that department is received by you, and you have to just look at then those number of files to formulate your response. So that's the goal here. And then the data will go to the next level of authoring here. In this case, this author will receive the data from all the schools. So that's why one more round of a review is required. The decision is required by the authors here. Just like the way these approvers will reject the data, they can also reject the data. It can go back to the schools, and the school can read what the feedback is given, and accordingly they can decide the rejection of the data for all the departments or only specific ones. So then in the case of final approval, the data will become part of the final output of the system. So this is how the very systematically the data is collected for each metric. Now there are other important decisions to be taken to make this system more effective, and improve the quality of the data. That's what I'm going to now show you what I mean by that. So this is the way the configuration of the system will be done. Every level has their dashboard and the visibility of the data collected by them respectively, and there will be various users who will have access to that information. Uh, Now we have this quality indicator framework. The decision by the IQAC about who should do what is very important here. Out of the out of all the metrics for which the data has to be collected, you may in the sense the IQAC team may decide to keep some metrics with themselves to collect and own the responsibility of the data at their level directly. Uh, for example, 6.5.2 is IQAC activity related metric, so naturally they will keep it with them. There could be some other metrics which may require you to collect some data which is confidential in nature or sensitive in the nature, and the schools or the departments may not have it with them. So you would want them to not worry about that. So you can keep filter out such metrics and keep it with you. I have seen that many times the some of the qualitative metrics are kept by IQAC directly. So naturally, then those metrics are not visible to the other levels. So school will have, let's say there are 100 metrics, out of which 15 metrics are kept by IQAC. The school will see 85 only, and then school also can take a decision about what should be kept by them and what should be given to the department. So out of 85 they may end up giving 82 departments to collect the data. So this is how the step by step you can actually configure the system, and then it will look it will create an clarity of the communication will get established. Delegation of the responsibility will be extremely clear to everyone who is going to play some role in this environment. So now the respective departments here have become they become the independent node to collect the data for all the metrics assigned to them. So in our case, we said that 80 metrics are to be owned by the department. So they will have to decide who should be the author and the approver of each metric. Initially, my team helps you configure the system. Later on, you can maintain it very easily. So, however, the beauty of the system is that the users here can play some or the same role or the different role in other departments also. They can become approver of the same metric in all the departments, or they can also play a role of author in the same department for some other metric. So they can wear multiple hats. Their role can change according to the responsibility assigned to them. And when they log in, they will be shown the relevant features and the access and privileges based on the role that they are playing. So these users also can play some role at the school level and also at the IQAC level if they are given access to the data at these levels. So vertical movement of the users is also possible, as well as horizontal movement is also possible. So this is the way the user management is done. Now, once this is primary configuration is done, then you are ready to start the data collection. So here, if we take the example of 2.3.3 quantitative metric, this is the template to be used, and there are supporting documents to be uploaded along with it. So imagine that in the School of Engineering, there are three departments, and each department has collected their respective data sheets and the supporting documents for 2.3.3, for example. So here, as and when, in the random order, obviously, as and when the departments have approved their data, so data will keep going to the respective schools here. So the moment the system senses that all the departments under the school have sent the data, it will collate that data automatically. So for it will work like this. So the moment the data is kind of received by the system by the last from the last department, it will create this collated data sheet, and it will present all the supporting documents collected from all the departments, uh, you know, in the fragmented department-wise manner. So this user here, the author here, can take the right decisions about how creatively these files could be segregated, and your response is formulated, which requires you to kind of make sure that certain limit is of the uh, is maintained here as per the SOPs. And anyway, the data sheet is collated here, which has the data from all the departments. So you can imagine the kind of confusion and chaos is reduced here, and also the manual work is reduced of the IQAC teams here. So now once the School of Engineering is ready with their response, data is approved, it will go to IQAC now. So this is how the step-by-step data will move from one step to other step. In other schools also, the data is being collected for the same metric, for example here, and whenever the data is ready, it will go to first of all the school, and then from school it will go to IQAC. And when it reaches IQAC, the data which was received from the School of Engineering will get merged with data of School of Law, and all the supporting documents are also presented there as a dump of documents coming from all the schools there. You can also see the aggregated benchmarking is also done for the two schools, and their respective independent benchmarking is also shown here. So when you drill down to find out where the problems are, it becomes easy for IQAC team to spot the errors. Error in the sense, spot the hotspots, and take the remedial actions accordingly. So that's the purpose of you know creating a kind of workflow here, which will help you improve the quality of the data step by step. Please feel free to post your questions in the question box whenever you have something to ask. So I am now going to take you to a department and show you how data gets collected there. You can sign in with your Google account also if you want. Once the let's say now what I'm going to show you now is that how the administrator of a department can assign role and responsibility to various staff members. Here is users in that department, and then how the author, who is Samira Sinha here, and approver Shruti Patel can work together to collect the data and improve the quality of the data. So here, this configuration is required. Due date, author, and the approver can be assigned. So this will establish the role and the responsibility of every individual. When somebody signs into the system, they will be presented the interface and the features according to the role that they are playing. So we will take the same example of 2.3.3 quantitative metric, and then see how the data gets collected for this metric. So here, one very important feature of InPods to note here is that at the left side, you will see this hierarchical structure of all the criteria, key indicators, and the metrics like this. And if you click on one of the metrics, you will see the information that comes from the NAC manual. So this is identical information that comes from NAC manual. It shows you what metric data is required, what templates have to be used, and what supporting documents are required to be collected. Everything is given here, and based on the access given to individual users, they will see these metrics here. If they are not supposed to see any one of these metrics, it will not be visible to them. For example, now here Samira Sinha signs in here. She's an author. When she comes here, she will see only the metrics associated with her. She won't have any access to any other metric. This is very important feature because this helps you establish the security of the data, because you don't want to show all the data to everybody. That is not needed, and that's why this feature becomes very important uh, security feature for you. Now, coming to the process of data collection, this author goes to the respective metric. This is the way the data is to be collected. There is a template given by us which is identical to the NAC manual template, and then the supporting documents have to be also uploaded here, and we have given what supporting document is needed there. You can also add your templates. If the IQAC wants everybody to follow certain guidelines, they can mention those in on the interface, and that becomes very important input by the IQAC team to all the users. So when they start collecting the data, and whenever the reviewer also reviews the data, they know what exactly has to be reviewed, how to review. Right, that particular part is addressed by this feature. Now, whenever the data is rejected by the approver, they can justify that the actual requirement is this, and that's the reason I'm rejecting the data, and please upload the data as per the suggested formats and the guidelines given by IQAC. So that becomes the justification by the reviewers and the approvers to take a call whether or not this data should be approved. So this becomes a very important feature actually. Now, when the data collection is over, it could be now submitted by the author. So system has now flagged this as submitted. Now, when the systems the system will send one email and notification through the system itself to the respective approvers. Approver can sign in, and this is the overall dashboard shown to every user, which shows you how many metrics the work has not been started, how many are rejected, for example, and how many are evaluated, means approved. So that's the way the dashboard helps you keep the track. Now, because of this notification, approver knows what data is submitted by whom, and they can go to that respective metric, take a look at the data, compare it with the sample documents and guidelines given by NAC, rather the IQAC, and then take a decision whether or not it should be approved or rejected. So if the data doesn't meet the requirement, it could be rejected, and the justification for that can be given here, which becomes an input to the author, because now the data is to be rejected by approver. So this is rejected. It goes back to the respective approver, rather the author. Now you must have seen that there is no need of communication to happen between these two users through WhatsApp or some phone calls, right? This is done handled by the system. So this reduces your unwanted work also. Now, since this is known to the author why the data has come back rejected, appropriate corrective steps could be taken, and it could be resubmitted. Now, this time the data may get accepted, and hence the overall percentage will be uh, shown there. The new level of approved metrics are highlighted there. Now, this is the way the traceability of the data is possible, and the life cycle which we have seen just now is depicted here once again for recalling, helping you recall, how this life cycle of the data collection will be over. So now you can expand your perspective to see how the other departments are also collecting the data, and what will happen if they start sending the data to the next step, either it is school or directly the IQAC. So whenever they keep sending the data to the next level, it will automatically get this will get either summed up or will get treated according to the type of question they are sending the data for. The response will be computed, data sheets will be merged automatically, and all the supporting documents are presented as a dump of all the supporting files to the next level of author who is sitting at the school level. So now, interestingly, you can see this in this screenshot. This particular author is at the school level. This school level author will see the department wise data like this as well as the collated data. So both the views are given, and that helps you either approve or reject the data of every department independently. So this is the view at the school level of author. Now, if you think about the IQAC level of author, you will see the data school wise. Likewise, School of Engineering, Medical, or Law are the schools under a private university. So when the author who is sitting at the level of IQAC can see school-wise data. Now here the School of Engineering data is rejected. So it must have gone back to the School of Engineering, and the School of Engineering has to decide whether the department, specific department's data has to be rejected, or for all the departments the data has to be rejected. So that's the decision to be taken by the school. And then whenever the data comes back, it will come to the school level first, and then it will be sent to IQAC by. So reverse journey of the data also is possible here in this manner. I hope that this is clear now. And when it comes to benchmarking, the next level, either school or IQAC, will see the hotspot like this. So this is the hotspot here. Department 2's weighted grade point is lower than the other two departments. So this is the way that you can quickly find out. And by the way, at the next level, the aggregated grade points are also given there for you to understand how different schools are performing for a particular metric. And then the overall performance will be seen at the IQAC level. That was about quantitative metric. When it comes to qualitative metrics, we have given you the text box here. It's a rich text box. You can insert images also in that. We have given you the word count. Although we don't restrict you to respond more than 500 words also, but we highlight that okay, you're crossing the limit set by NAC there. Sometimes it is 300 words, sometimes it is 500 words. So we just highlight that you're kind of it's going beyond that range given by NAC. But obviously we don't have to restrict you unnecessarily. You can obviously then formulate a response according, you know what has to be done obviously, and then it can be uploaded. Those who represent any one of the health sciences institutions such as dental, medical, nursing, Ayurved, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy, pharmacy, we will be able to give you your specific part B also. So your first 7 criteria are same for you. We will configure the system accordingly, and the 8th part will be according to the manual that is applicable to you. So we will have different implementation of the 8th criteria according to the domain of your education, the health sciences education. Now we come to the non-QF part of the data collection. This is related to executive summary, AP 2020, profile, and the extended profile. So we have given you this interface here, and this is visible only to IQAC. IQAC can assign someone as an author, someone as an approver to kind of take care of the quality of the data in the similar manner that is applicable to other metrics, as we have seen earlier. So you have a facility to directly input your data here, and otherwise you can also upload data using the templates given by us. So various ways in which you can collect the data. The evaluative report template is also given by us, and once the departments upload it, it will get merged at the IQAC level. So this was about the data collection. Now we come to the discussion about how the system will generate SSR or AQR. Now that data collection has been understood by us, data as and when the data reaches IQAC, the final decision about approval has to be done by IQAC. When they open the gate of the data, it is going to go to this SSR or AQR final output. So until the time data is still in progress, it's still in process, you obviously wouldn't find any data here for that specific metric. It is very important step actually, because when you see the data here, it gives you tremendous confidence about the quality of the data, completeness of the data, versioning of the files, and the merged data sheet that you will find attached along with this. That is super merged data sheet, right? All the departments in the school's data will come here, there. So when if the IQAC department finally approves the data of a specific metric, it will finally reach here. And that is a very important step here, because you know while uploading the data to the NAC portal how much anxiety is there, right? So here that anxiety will be eliminated to a large extent, because you know that this is the data that is having the right set of supporting documents. There is no confusion about it. The data sheet is the one that is fully aggregated now, collated and merged, and these are the values to be inputted into the NAC portal that represent the entire institute. So this is the way the uh, human errors could be eliminated, which otherwise can happen inadvertently while uploading the data. Um, so this is the view of the SSR like presentation of the data. You can see that all the supporting documents, this data sheet is there. These final values are there. Grade and weighted grade points are computed here. Um, this is other way of presenting the data of last 5 years, for example, right? And their respective weighted grade points are mentioned here. So this is how the data is presented. You might get some more ideas and thoughts when you see the data presented to you in this manner. But probably this data is not erroneous at all, because it has been gone through several revisions, but still rather rounds of reviews. But still, when you see the data in this specific way, you may have certain new ideas about how to bring up your strengths properly. So that's the way SSR will be generated by the system. When it comes to AQR, uh, the manual of the AQR is implemented by us. So naturally, you will be able to start collecting data for AQR. In parallel, also you can do this in parallel with SSR data collection. So there are quite a few customers of Inforce. They are currently using Inforce for AQR data collection, but they are also preparing their SSR, because their submission of the SSR is in 2023 for some of the institutions, and they are kind of collecting the data for SSR also in parallel. So they are using the system for both the outputs at the same time. Um, so this is about the faculty common data. As I mentioned earlier, those who joined little late, for them, I'm going to repeat a little bit here about what this feature is about. So you end up as a faculty member, you end up collecting the data, same data for various accreditations and rankings, such as ATAL ranking, NRF ranking, UGC reporting, Times Higher Education or QS ranking, and other, let's say NBA or ABET also. Many times the data required is same. It is presented in different manner. So to avoid this duplication of the work, we have created this interface for you to collect the data related to your, awards or some patents or innovations done by you, publications or some kind of content developed by you. All you have to do is whenever you have any update, log in reports, report this data, attach the related documents, and it goes to your approver. It could be your dean or somebody who is designated to review the data and either approve, reject it. That person will receive the notification, they can approve the data, and then it will become the part of the master. From there, your IQAC team can download it and use it for various purposes. So that was about the common faculty data collection. When it comes to IQAC Office, they like Impart's dashboard so much that they actually sometimes say that Imparts is actually a project management system and quality management system. The reason is here. So at the IQAC level, you will see, entire universities or the institutions kind of progress like this. Now, for example, you want to understand what these 5% rejected metrics are. So you have to just go to status, select the status here, rejected, and then you will see school-wise, department-wise rejections for various metrics. But if you want to, let's say, quickly take a look at some of the very important metrics which have got higher weightages, right? You want to keep a tab on that. So you can quickly filter that out like this, and you'll see school-wise and department-wise progress and rather the status of the data there. That was about the traceability of the data. The second part of the data collection is the quality management. And this is the way the weighted grade points which are computed by the system are rolled up from department to school, school to IQAC, and then they are kind of aggregated at the level of your IQAC, and you can see the complete computation like this. So now if you want to actually find out whether there, let's say you also want to let's say 3.3.3, it's a very important metric. So you can filter this 3.3.3 and say that I want to see all the schools which have scored lower than, let's say, 2, and immediately you'll get the respective report ready here. Quickly you can find out the problems, hotspots, and obviously you can plan the remedial action based on that. So that's how you can quickly find out the problems. Your meetings with the departments will start becoming very effective, to the point, because everybody is anyway aware because of their own dashboards. They know what's happening at their end. So IQAC also meetings will become very efficient and effective because of this awareness about overall data collection process and the quality as well. So I'm reaching the end of this presentation. I'm going to show you now, first of all, the key benefits of Inparts. One is the decentralized data collection. So every department becomes an independent unit or node to collect the data for the metrics given to them. And this helps you establish the accountability because system grades the every metric. It eliminates a lot of manual work. It generates SSR AQR like presentation of the data. It eliminates many potential human errors, and unproductive work is dropped a lot. Faculty data collection is very unique interface feature of Inparts, which helps you eliminate a lot of duplication of the work. Those were the functional benefits. As far as the non-functional benefits are concerned, Inparts uses Amazon Cloud. It is one of the, as you know, one of the best cloud computing technology. So naturally, their innovations that are happening, their improvements are automatically kind of passed on to the customers, and they get obviously very high uptime, and also the performance of the servers are always good. You will be able to work very quickly, faster, because system is always there, up and running, and has very good performance. Uh, it is basically software as a service, so we expect you to take annual subscription, and mm, whenever you want to renew, you can always do that every year. It is very easy to learn platform. The interface is clean, simple, uncluttered. So even non-tech savvy teachers have been able to use Imparts very quickly. We have never traveled to any campus in last almost 20 months, and the trainings have happened online. It takes hardly 2 to 3 hours online training after the configuration is done, and that is good enough for your teachers to start collecting the data. We are extremely confident about this. This is not hypothesis. This has happened actually in the case of all the customers of Inbox. And uh, obviously, whenever you have any questions in mind, you can um, use the chatbot and reach out to us. Whenever we release new features, we will obviously communicate to you. Whenever there are changes in the NAC manual, we will implement those on our own and we will inform you. So accordingly, the interactions with our engineers will continue to happen, at between us. Uh, so that was about the non-functional benefits coming to us. If you have any question about the pricing of the platform, obviously I will not be able to tell you that unless and until I understand the structure of your institution, how many schools, department, and users you have, and any other requirements that you have. Unless and until I understand that, I will not be able to give you the any indication of any pricing here. So those who have the question about the pricing, uh, they will have to actually kind of mm, write an email to me, and I will respond immediately. So one question that has come here is that can we use Informs free for online classes? So this is a separate technology of Informs, which is dedicatedly designed for NAC accreditation. But Informs does have a learning management platform for online teaching, learning, and online assessments, as well as for outcomes-based education. You can use that technology for your online teaching, learning, and evaluation process. It is obviously not free uh, because it's a commercial product. But if you want to try in pods for, let's say, a few weeks, please feel free to write and drop an email to me. I will take a look at that. I will address it. Thank you so much for that inquiry, Professor Vidyasagar. Uh, we do offer advisory services, extremely ethical, and we will stick to the essence and the message given by NAC in their manuals. So these advisory services are offered with a range of inputs coming to you. For example, we can help you set up your IQAC office also, train your users, help them understand each and every metric, help you create criteria-wise committees, and we can conduct reviews of the data that you collect. We can conduct mock audits and also help you kind of address the queries um, by in HEI portal. So this will prepare you very well, and this could be a kind of parallel service which is priced separately because the scope of work needs to be understood in a direct discussion with you, and accordingly we can also separately propose the pricing for the services that you require. So, but in the advisors also depend on you to collect the data in parts, obviously, because they can log in from their wherever they are and give you the suggestions accordingly. So, imports technology is kind of as a base foundation for them also to offer the advisory services. These are not our employees. We have partnered with many experienced and renowned personalities and educators in this field of accreditation, and with their help, we offer these services. So that's it from my end, ladies and gentlemen. I highly appreciate your valuable time for this attending this